What is this jar with a strange lid that has writings that reads Eleniler, Dayton, Ohio, with a metal tube connected to the underside of the lid? Someone suggested a jar battery, but jar batteries typically have a wider opening, and there is no place for the cell. Any ideas? It's a beer dispenser, manufactured by the Eleniler Manufacturing Company of Dayton, Ohio in the 1930s. I found this ad from the Cincinnati Enquirer, issued on July 7th, 1935, page 14. The company was engaged in the manufacture of beer compressors. Today, we use carbon dioxide canisters. I grew up with my dad telling me that at one point, Dayton had the highest number of patents per capita in the US. Probably a very long time ago, and I've never bothered to check. But it's a cute fact that I think captures the spirit of my hometown well. What is this fairly heavy cylinder thing? My mom found this while looking for something in the house, and we were both curious about what it could possibly be. Thank you in advance. It's a section of the copper overhead transmission line that carried electricity from the Hoover Dam to Los Angeles. They sold sections cut like that at Hoover Dam as a souvenir. This type of hollow conductor was manufactured by General Cable during the early 1930s and was designed to transmit 287,500 volts across the Mojave Desert. The cable is hollow because most of the electricity flows through the outer surface, and the hollow design also dramatically reduced the weight burden on the transmission towers that supported the cable. What is this farm equipment I found on my property? About 3.5 feet tall, all heavy iron, with a seat, and it's made to be pulled behind something. The times on the rosette part look like they are meant to spread seed. Any help you can provide would be much appreciated. This is a horse-drawn corn stalk cutter from circa 1919. The corn stubble left over from the harvest presented problems for the farmer. Plowing would not cover up the corn stalks adequately, which interfered with the planting of next year's crop. Exposed stalks promoted insects and disease. This gave rise to the horse-drawn corn stalk cutter. It was used to cut the stalks so they decompose a little faster. What is the purpose of this gas platform in the basement of a house built in the 1920s? A friend suggested it was an emergency cook stove for when the electric goes off, but they had regular non-electric gas stoves. It may have had maintenance done to it at some point, but it's original to the house. Any ideas? I'm guessing it would have held a pair of copper tubs for boiling laundry water. I think most people moved straight from using fire to using electricity to boil their laundry. Washing everything at 30 to 40 degrees Celsius is a more modern thing. My mother was still doing boil washes in a twin tub in the 1970s. Looking around Google a bit, these are found on more than one site. These were called hot plates from circa 1918. These burners are great. What is this object made of metal with a concrete base we found in the woods near the Rogie Falls in northern Scotland? Nearly 6 feet tall, no writing on it at all, and there was 2 cogs on the inside of the box connected by a short metal rod. You could turn it with your hand, but it wasn't connected to anything else and didn't seem to serve any function. I'm guessing the object is missing parts, and I thought it might be some kind of fishing thing, but I'm honestly at a loss. Any idea what it is for? It's a Lee recorder or Leah recorder, made by the Lee Recorder Company in Manchester, England, in the mid-1900s, and used for measuring the consumption of water in an electrical generating station. Or at least it was when it had its inner workings. This recorder gave an autographic record of the amount of water used at different periods of the day. It enabled the engineer to calculate roughly the amount of water used per kilowatt hour under the various conditions of the working of the plant. What is this antenna-like object with geometric mesh panels seen at a military surplus store? Approximately 2 or 3 feet in all directions. The shopkeeper couldn't tell me about it beyond the fact that it had been there since the store opened 50 years ago. I tried image searching, but no results looked anything like this. Any idea what this is made for? It's a World War II US Army Air Force and US Navy life raft radar reflector. It's a collapsible multi-panel device designed to increase the radar visibility of life rafts. When deployed, it forms a geometric shape that effectively bounces radar signals back to the source, making it easier for rescuers to locate stranded personnel at sea. Manufactured during the height of World War II, this radar reflector was an essential tool for both the United States Army Air Forces and the United States Navy. It was a standard issue for life rafts aboard aircraft and naval vessels. The reflector would be deployed in emergency situations, significantly improving the chances of rescue operations. What is this machine about 4 feet tall, with a drum that spins and is powered by an electric motor? The drum has heavy metal rods protruding from it. As the drum spins, the rod fits through a grate and sticks out about 5 inches above the grate when sticking straight up. It was available for rent from a rural hardware store in Minnesota. The hardware store also sold feed. It is almost all heavy gauge steel, and the guard in the front shows wear from something making contact. It may be farm-related, and no brand or model number can be found. Any ideas? It's a poultry plucking machine for taking the feathers off a poultry when you are cleaning them to eat. It was patented on December 21, 1943, by Gordon W. Johnson of Overland Park, Kansas. You scald a chicken to loosen the feathers, and the spinning fingers pull all the feathers right out. I spent countless hours running one just like it in my youth. And those are not metal rods on the drum, they're ribbed rubber fingers to help pluck the feathers. What is this brass object I found in an antique store in upstate New York? The little wheel spins when you crank the handle, and it feels heavy like it is solid brass. It has no identifying marks on it. The small bit that sticks out from the side opposite the wheel is connected to the axle, so it also spins, and nothing else on the object moves in any way. Thanks in advance for any help. It's a dollhouse washing machine, made in Holland in the 1960s. Holland has a rich tradition of crafting miniatures, which was a time of great prosperity and artistic achievement in the country. Dutch dollhouses, known as cabinet houses, became popular among wealthy families during this period. These dollhouses were not toys, but rather detailed and expensive displays meant to reflect the wealth and taste of the owner. What is this unusual clamp-like tool? My mom picked this up at my uncle's house in Michigan. It is about 8 to 10 inches in length, made of some sort of cast metal, and has a ratcheting or locking mechanism in the center. He worked on old cars and motorcycles, so I suspect it may be some sort of specialized engine tool that I have never encountered. I've been an equipment tech for 20 years and have never seen one before. Any ideas? Please let us know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.